Right, Jacques. Ladies and gents, good evening wherever you are, whether in Australia, South Africa, or New Zealand. Welcome to our team announcement press conference with the Springbok head coach Jacques Nienaber and number 8 Dwayne Vermeulen. And Jacques will now start by announcing the team that will play against the All Blacks here in Townsville on Saturday.
Thank you, Ray, and good morning and good evening to those of you on the in the press conference. The team playing against New Zealand on Saturday, there's only 2 changes in the starting lineup, and the first one is rejigged that comes in for Marvin Orrie. Obviously, Luet returned from his HRA. And then the second change is Kwagga Smith starting at 7 and Franco Mostert moving to the bench, and purely managing the workload of Franco Mostert. And then the bench is the same. The changes are, there's only 2 changes on the bench. Jasper, unfortunately, is only having his hearing tonight. According to the timeline, it should have happened yesterday. But for reasons or for reasons under our not in our control, it could only happen tonight. So he wasn't up for selection. So the changes there is Elton Jantjies is coming in and Frans Steyn is coming in as player 22 and 23.
Thank you, Jacques, and just want to let obviously our media contingent know that the team will be sent out in full, obviously, as per our usual operation. Right, we go over now to our question section, and Jan de Koning, you had your hand up first. Over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Dwayne. Jacques, after Saturday, you said you wanted to have a good review and then maybe you'll have a better idea of what went wrong. What have you focused on this week, apart from the changes, which obviously is significant, but what have you focused on this week that could make a difference, that could give you a better opportunity of beating the All Blacks? I mean, we obviously know how important this game is, the 100th game between the 2 teams.
No, listen, we obviously not going to say too much what we changed in our plans. Obviously, I had a good look at how we played, and we were honest and brutally honest. And I think, I thought there were some things that were good. I thought our line-out mauling was good. I thought our scrums were good on the weekend. I thought we were good in the high ball. We will have a session tomorrow. We will probably touch on the defensive side of things. I think there was 1 or 2 errors that we made there. Know that there was 1 or 2 that we will fix and rectify going into this weekend's game. And then probably just revisiting what our soul is, what we do as South Africans and what we enjoy doing, and probably going back to that.
Thank you, Jacques. Craig Ray, over to you next. You next up.
Good morning, guys, or good evening over there. Jacques, there's the old saying that goes, you know, teams must do 100 things 1% better. Do you feel like you maybe did it 100 things 1% worse last week? It was a lot of little errors. And what do you put that down to, having had the review?
Yeah, no, I think there was. How can I say, the errors that we made was errors that we don't normally make, and sometimes. I suppose it happens like that, you know. Sometimes you make mistakes, you miss a tackle. A guy who's a 95% tackle completion normally misses a tackle. But that's battles that you win and lose in games. And the key thing for us is just to stay focused. I mean, the new challenge for us is almost to get over the result that we had against Australia and focus on New Zealand. We know that we will have to be at our best against New Zealand, and we certainly are training, and the work that we put in the last 2 days were excellent. So yeah, I think we are aligned in terms of a team and in terms of strategy that we want to do. So yeah, we had a good prep up to now.
If I could just follow up with Dwayne, Rayon. Dwayne, just on that, you know, do you feel? I remember once you guys lost to Ireland quite heavily, and the next week you beat England, and there was quite a big backlash. Does this feel similar in you know, after disappointing yourselves, I'm sure, against Australia, and having such a big team like the All Blacks to have a backlash against?
Yeah, Craig, I can't really say. What happened in the past is only stands for the past. So you can only talk about the now. And I think, yeah, like Jock said, we reviewed our game, and I think we played against Australia. New Zealand is a whole new game. It's a whole different team. They play a whole different style to what Australia does. So we have to prep differently, and obviously, we have to prep accordingly to the way they play and the way we want to play. So, obviously we've got our backs against the wall, and hopefully we can work hard as a team, and hopefully get the result we want and get back on track.
Thanks.
Thanks, Craig. Right, Hans Schenk.
Good evening, gents. Hope you're well. I have two questions, one for Jock and one for Dwayne, please. Jock, obviously a lot of people are going to be interested in the Kwagga selection, but you gave a very good explanation, during that first test against the British and Irish Lions. Is that pretty much the same for this game? And then for Dwayne, please, just the magnitude of this occasion. It's the 100th test. Bongi and Dion said that obviously everybody is up for the game, but one has to have a bit of a balance between creating too much hype about the occasion and not focusing on the fundamentals. Are you guys using the occasion as a driving force, or is it really just about approaching this as a normal game? Thank you very much.
Yeah, on Kwagga selection, like I said, yes, Sous have been a stalwart for us in this season. Since Peter Steff got injured, he was our played lock. Then Peter Steff got injured, and we moved him over to a blindside flanker, and he's produced 80 minute after 80 minute after 80 minute. And then if we take a lock off, he will move from blindside into the lock position. And this is purely just to give him a little bit of a break. He's trained every single training session, played every minute, and Kwagga brought nice energy when he came on the last weekend against Australia. And Kwagga is a versatile guy. He's a guy that we trust. He's been part of us now for a while, since 2019. Excited to see what Kwagga is going to bring, and then obviously we can bring Sous in at lock or blindside wherever we feel we need some injection.
I think from our side, I think we have to take it as another test match. We play New Zealand. Yes, whatever the bookies and the history tells you that we're playing the 100th test. For us, it's just we want to compete in this championship, and we obviously everyone wants to win this thing. So for us, it's prepping for New Zealand. We're playing New Zealand. And we're going to go and give it our best. Whatever the occasion is, that's for the people that write books about it. For us, it's to be a better team than we were last week and improve on what we did last week. And hopefully we do that this coming weekend.
Thank you. Right, we move on swiftly. Tinus van Staden.
How's it, Jelle? I've got one for Dwayne. Dwayne, against the Wallabies in both tests, actually, it looked like you guys sort of struggled with your exits. You would score points, and then immediately after the restart, you'd struggle to get back into their half. Is there a specific reason for that, or was it just a bit of inaccuracy in executing the plans?
Yeah, I think. If I think about it, last weekend, I can't really think too far back, but I think of last weekend, we received all our kickoffs. We made one mistake while Trevor knocking the ball on, and but every other exit we got out of our 22 or not out of our half, but we either kicked it out or we kicked a contested ball, and most of the balls we won back. So. I don't really think that was an issue. We will still stick to our game plan and the way we want to play and the style we want to play, and keep pushing and keep working even harder to get the final result or the precise result that we want.
Thanks, Tinus and Dwayne. And next up is Gavin Rich.
How's it, Jacques? I just wanted to ask if when you said just now that you need to sort of get your soul back, or you felt that you'd sort of moved away from your soul, is that sort of maybe an acknowledgement that maybe you played almost like too much rugby last week? It felt as if you'd moved a little bit away from your template.
Gavin, yes, I think if you look at what Australia did, they probably beat us in our own game. I think Australia don't even think they made 70 passes in the whole game. So they came with a completely different plan to they changed completely what they did in the previous games, the three French games and then the New Zealand games. So yes, I do think we probably got caught up a little bit in that, and we had a good look at that in terms of what our soul is, and I do think we played probably double the amount of rugby that Australia did. And not to say that you don't need to play rugby, but you must play rugby when it's on, when the opportunity is there. And we probably pushed it a little bit when the opportunity wasn't on. When they were set on defense and when they maybe gave us kick space in behind, we probably got caught up in and forced things in terms of carries. And then when the opportunity was there to run, we probably kicked where we maybe should have done another option. So I do think, I know Australia changed 100%, made a U-turn in terms of what they did in the past versus to what they did against us on the weekend. They almost beat us, as I said, they beat us with their own game.
Thanks, Kevin and Jacques. Right, Ken Boland.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Dwayne. Jacques, just kind of following up from that. One of the things also which maybe linked to that is big ball carries by the Springboks has always been a very big strength of the side, dominating the game line in that. Yet in selection at blindside flank, were you tempted to get another big ball carrier in there? Obviously, Kwagga brings pace, and New Zealand obviously play with great pace as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably weighing up in terms of looking at the balance of your team and looking at, looking at the balance of your loose trios and your if I can say it, your pack. And almost get a balance between ball carriers versus guys that can cover width for you, that can cover distance for you, that can scramble for you. So it's almost having a balance with that. I think if you look at our team currently, I think Bongi can carry well, Malcolm can carry well, Kutsi can carry well, Trevor can carry well, Loot can carry, Eben can carry, Dwayne can carry, Sia can carry, and in a different way, Kwagga carries with his evasion and with his timing of his carries, being a previous sevens player. So I think it's just to try and get the balance right there. That you just don't have too much of the one and less of the other, if that makes sense.
Thank you,
sorry,
Jacques.
Sorry, if I could just also link to that. Just the Jasper Visser situation. You mentioned his hearing only happening tonight. Is there not a time limit for when guys are meant to be cited? And just was that time limit met? And obviously it must be very disruptive to find out so late that a player has been cited.
Ken, he was cited within the specific, within the correct time. So we knew he was cited in the correct time. The issue was that the timeline, normally when the judicial process and timeline comes out, it comes out on a Friday before a test match. So listen, if there's a citing, if the citing commissioner cite, the citing must happen before this time. The team must be notified before this time. If you plead guilty or not, it must happen before this time. And then the hearing must happen before this time. So there's a whole time frame of when what should be met. And so everything happened exactly as according to the time frame as they put out in that process on Friday. Except, like with the Barrett incident, he got his hearing was on the Monday at 5 o'clock, 1700 hours. And our hearing should have been Monday, 1700 hours. So that if the player then gets found not guilty, he's still up for selection for Saturday. But for some other reason, the people who had to sit in the judicial committee or the people, they weren't available at 1700 hours on Monday. So the hearing only happens today. And we've got one training before we play the test match, one training and then a captain's practice. So it just made it impossible. I mean, for us to select Jasper. So I'm not 100% sure why the timelines weren't met. And it was met when there was the same incidents 2 weeks ago against when Australia played against New Zealand. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure Sansa will come back to us on that.
Thank you, Jacques. Right, Kobus Klaasen.
Thanks, Rayan. Hello, Jacques and Dwayne. Jacques, there's been a lot of criticism and negative comment after the poor performance on Saturday. How do you personally handle that pressure from outside, if I can put it that way?
No, yes, I think the pressure from myself and from us as a team is probably more, you know. So yeah, you look at yourself first and foremost. Me as a coach, and when you look at what happened and how we played, and you think where you gone wrong during the week, what you could have done better, and that's how we are as a team. You know, we coaches, players, we all in it together, and we open and honest with each other, and that's what I love about this team. And I said to Dwayne yesterday, he's the guy that I've coached the longest. I coached him since 2006. So we can talk to each other straight up, you know, and that's probably the worst criticism is when it comes from us as peers, and we take it. I mean, we tell each other what we think and where we think we went wrong, and it's tough to swallow. But yeah, for the criticism from outside, firstly, I think when people stop criticizing, that's when you should worry, because the people criticize because they feel something for the team, and I see it in that way. I mean, it's tough. Like I say, the criticism from us is worse. It's when you stop criticizing each other or try and find solutions and put your finger on something that you think is not right. That's when I think something is wrong within the team. But it's not wrong in this team currently. We are willing to talk open and honest about things, and I know us as a team are trying, or we want to do the best for South Africa, and criticism will be there, but my next focus and next job is to make sure that we are as good prepared for the All Blacks. So to be honest, you hear it, and I must say I'm not on social media, so I don't know. But I'm sure there would be criticism, and like I say, you must worry when people stop criticizing, because that means they just don't feel anything for the Boks anymore.
Thank you, Jacques. We'll take one more question, and then we will relieve the two of you and move on to our next set of players for interviews. And Jantjies, over to you for the last question in this section.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Jacques, a question for you. If there's one thing that New Zealand haven't been quite tested with, is from a physical perspective. Having watched all the Australia games over the past year, do you feel that is one department where the Springboks, even though it's clear that Kwagga's playing at 7, it is one department where you feel that New Zealand can and will be tested in this coming test?
And if I heard your question correctly, is you feel that they will test us in the physical department, and is that sorry? There was some noise on the outside.
No, I was saying that.
Is that right?
Do you feel that in the physicality department, that is one place where you can actively test New Zealand? Because over the past matches against Australia, it is one department where I think that they haven't been tested as much.
Got you now, 100%. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I think if you want to get a result against New Zealand, you have to test them in various aspects. Physicality is one. There will be a test of physicality. There will be a test of endurance. There will be a test of skill set. So I think all the departments will be tested, or there will be tests in all of them. But yes, physicality is obviously something that we enjoy as a team. I know with John Plumtree coaching in South Africa, he would know that would be probably one of the areas that we will go to. But I think we will have to test them not only in physicality. We will have to ask questions of them in more than one department.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Dwayne. We will pause now to relieve you guys and make way for our next two players, and that is Faf de Klerk and Lucanio Am.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, gents.
Dankie.
Thank you.
Right, gents, we're back from our very brief break, and just a reminder for those who have joined us later. After our start, we kicked off obviously with Jacques announcing the team, and Dwayne Vermeulen. Their comments are obviously you can use them with immediate effect. And now we have Faf and Lucanio. Faf's quotes are embargoed for Wednesday and Lucanio for Thursday. Right, Nathan Kogela, you've been waiting patiently. Let's go over to you for your first question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen, and good morning to the rest in South Africa. I've got two questions in English and one in Xhosa for Lucanio at the end. Faf, I'll start with you. This week, different team who are lethal on attack. As a season campaigner for the Boks, how do you go about in advising the team on ways to shut down their strengths and exploit the weaknesses? Can you just mention the All Black strengths and weaknesses you've identified while you're at it, please?
Yeah, hi there. I think what we've probably seen from New Zealand is they very dangerous when you make mistakes on turnover attack. So their counter attack is one of their big scoring methods. So we know if we go on attack to not make errors at all, if we give them easy knock-ons, we need to kill that ball, because that's when they get alive. And then also
When we go into our kicking game, when they get their offloads going, they become very dangerous. So we need to shut them down in that way. Is that what you asked, or was there something else?
Just mentioning the strengths and weaknesses, but yes, you have answered it. Thank you so much. Then Luke Bawo, I didn't get the chance to ask Jock, as one of the members in the leadership group, can you just talk us through why the coaching staff had to change from the 6-2 split to a 5-3 split, and maybe if you can, and the reasons maybe why Elton was picked over Morne and maybe Frans over Jamie.
Is that the Xhosa or the English question?
Hayi, ndibuze ngesilungu fundi, ngicela ulandwe ngesilungu.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, I'm not involved in the selection or squad selection group or committee. I think the coaches do make decisions based on our opponents, on who we're playing, and what's the plan, around the game plan. So I would assume we selected the squad which we had based on the game plan that we will try to execute.
Thank you. Right. Craig Lewis.
Thanks, Ray. How's it, guys? Faf, just a quick one for you. Obviously, Elton, Jantjies, and Frans Steyn haven't been heavily involved in, the on-field action. But what has been their role in terms of the off-field stuff and preparation, just their experience and mentorship? If you could just provide a bit of, background and a bit of a picture of what they've been doing and perhaps what they can now offer off the bench.
Yeah, hi there. I think the main thing that they've brought in, especially in training, is they sort of run the show on attack and on defense, giving us pictures similar to what we'll face on the weekend in the previous week. So they've done that brilliantly well. So just giving us those pictures so we know what to expect over the weekend. And like you mentioned, the experience that they bring is going to be immense for us. A few more calm heads is never a bad thing. And yeah, I think what just this weekend is just gives the backs a few more opportunities to have a go and really to go out there and give their all. If the tank's empty, we've got a few more changes that we can make. And Frans, he can fit in almost anywhere, and we know Ala has played centre as well, and Flav. So I think we're well covered. So yeah, I think it just gives the backs more of opportunity just to go out there and really try and empty the tank this weekend.
Thank you, Faf. And if I can ask our South African contingent, just be patient with the Xhosa and or Afrikaans questions. We'll fit them in towards the end. Therefore, we go back to Ken Boland. You have a question in English?
Yes, thanks, Rayan. Hi, Lukhanyo. Hi, Faf. One for each of you. Lukhanyo, last weekend there was a lot of effort to get the ball wide, and you guys tried it a lot, but never seemed to really create much space out there. Why do you think that happened? And for Faf, the last couple of weeks there have been some uncharacteristic, like fairly basic mistakes made by the Springboks that kind of almost looked like lapses in concentration, lack of focus. Do you feel that has been the case? And if so, have you guys felt a little, I don't know how to put it, like sort of unfocused on the field, if you like? Obviously bubble life, and you guys have been through a lot in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I think this past weekend we created a lot of opportunities, but we just couldn't manage to convert and execute. But I think towards the second half, I think we had a great start, but we were behind and we had scoreboard pressure. I think that's why at some moments it felt like we were chasing the game, but it felt like we were kind of rushing it because we were trying to close the game down. And I think that was probably one of the reasons why it felt like things didn't stick and were rushing things, and we looked a bit flustered. Yeah, I think it was purely the scoreboard pressure.
Thank you. Right, Motsadise from SuperSport.
Sorry, around Faf's answer.
Okay, sorry. Yes, sorry for that. Faf, you can continue. If you can remember the question. Apologies.
Yeah, I think I do. Just yeah. So I think the focus is because of the maybe being in quarantine and being in lockdown for I don't know how many weeks it was. I think we can't really do anything about that. That's something we can't complain about. That's a lot of teams go through the same thing. So it can't be down to that. Losing focus, I also don't think that's the thing. I think maybe we strayed a bit away from how we normally play, our DNA, and that maybe put guys under pressure, but forcing errors, forcing us to overplay a bit. So that's up to us as game drivers to make sure we play in the right areas of the field, not have a go when it's not really on. So I think we put that pressure on ourselves, and that created the errors. I don't think it was down to focus or anything like that. But yeah, we know as a group we need to be better. We need to step up our game a lot going into this test, and yeah, we really want to rectify those errors that you mentioned and make it a performance that the people can be proud about.
Right, thank you. So I think we're going to go two more rounds of English questions, and then we'll go in Xhosa and Afrikaans respectively before we conclude. Mods, if you can start with your question.
Good evening, gents. So sorry about the background noise. I am on the road. This weekend is a big one for the Springboks to bounce back, but there's also the huge occasion of the 100th test between South Africa and New Zealand. To you, Faf, and to you too, Lukhanyo, what does this mean for the both of you playing in such a historic match and in the context of your careers as well?
Yeah, I think for us as a team, our main focus will just be to get back on track in this competition and hopefully force ourselves to play well and to be in contention to still win it. Obviously, the history book's going to write it, and it's going to be important for some people, but I think for us as a group, we just want to make sure that we go out there and put up a performance that people can be proud of and that ourselves can be proud of, and hopefully the result will take care of itself then.
Pretty much everything. Yeah, I think on my side as well, I think, you know, every test is a big occasion for us, and I think in the position where we're at currently, we're just trying to focus on bouncing back and trying to rectify the mistakes and the errors that we did in the previous test. So yeah, for us, we're focusing on our processes, and hopefully we'll get the results.
Thank you, both of you. And we'll go to Ashraf Mohammed. Look like he's not there. Right. Let's see who else is there. Hans Schenk.
Thanks again, Rayan. Faf, apologies. I'm not trying to pick on you, but I just wanted to ask, you know, the frustration the past few weeks, you know, in terms of discipline. I mean, you unfortunately were one of the guys that picked up a yellow card in the past 2 weeks, but you've definitely not been the only one. Just has that again been a learning curve for you, you know, to keep the focus and keep the emotions in check? And what have you guys done to address the general discipline problems, you know, on the field, you know? Just wanted sort of like to peer into how do you deal with that after a rash of yellow cards in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think firstly from my yellow card, I honestly don't think it was a yellow card. I think I clearly played the guy's arm and not the ball. So yeah, not really sure about that one. But I think our discipline was pretty decent that first half. And in the previous games, I think our discipline has been good. I think it's just a few errors from guys going off script. I know Villy's one was also, he's trying to go for intercept, and so it's not really a lot of forced stuff. It's not guys being stupid or going off the rails, losing focus. I just think we just need to be a bit more sharp and make sure we're in the ref's head a bit more. And yeah, I think if we can just stay in control of how we want to play, we're going to obviously then hopefully have the scoreboard on our side, and we're not going to have to try some things and go out of character and out of the way we want to play.
Thank you, Faf. And now we go over to Percival Young. Percy? It seems like it dropped off the call. Right, we circle back to Nathan.
Thanks, Ray. I just got one additional English question for Faf and then one in this Xhosa for Lukhanya at the end. From my side, gentlemen, I just want to say good luck. Hopefully you can come back with a W and put a smile on people's faces at home, and the bride can be more pleasant. Faf, there are rumors Russie's in Townsville. Can you formally comment if this is true or not?
Not. It's not here. There might be a Rassie here, but I don't think it's our Rassie.
Okay. Lukhanyo, coach nje kapalala man kwabukele nizosiphathela ndoni kule mpela veki xa nizodibana nezimnyama?
Ndasoloko xa sidlala nezimnyama, I think umuntu uyazimisela ngoba siyazi inqanaba abakulo and nomdlalo abawuzisayo. So kwicala lethu so zama uzimisela, sizama ukulungisa ke lamathuba siwaphosileyo, I think kweziveki zidlulileyo. Sezazi ke into abazanayo into ezimnyama bayitimu abathanda uyivula igame ngebhola esandleni. So I think kwicala lethu lokukhusela nathi kuzamele sihlelise imvundlile, kodwa izaba ngumdlalo obukekayo, and nathi I think kule ndawo sikuyo sisazimisela ngoba asinayo enye choice. So kuzamele size nomdlalo oshushu kule weekend.
Thanks,
Luki. Right, Jantjies.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I've got one quick question for Faf in English, and then two short ones for Lukhanya in isiXhosa. Faf, I know that you guys never prepare for individuals at a test level, but how did it feel playing a New Zealand team without Aaron Smith, even though the TJ Perenara is a world-class scrum half? And for when I get Lukhanya Kumanda Temba uyaphila manje mhlekazi apho ne lo mdlalo manje kuwe ungumdlali ke njengoba sikhuleke singabantu besuke ekoloni sidunyelwa ke All Blacks manje ukuthi All Blacks lo mdlalo ubaluke kangakanani kuwe? And then wesibini leminyaka nje egqithile okona phumelela indebe yehlabathi wonke umuntu uthi amabhokobhoko abethwa All Blacks, amabhokobhoko abethwa All Blacks. Ningathi kuba nifikile kule ndawo ngokunibhaliselele kuyo ngoku?
Ndingathi umdlalo ophakathi kwethu namabhokobhoko ne-All Blacks soloko yaba ngumdlalo o-close, soloko ngumdlalo otakisa inhlanzi. Siyazi ke umdlalo odlalwa zi-All Blacks bangumdlalo onjani. So nathi kwelethu icala kuzonyanzeleka sizimisele, and ayizuba igame uzawunyanzeleke sikhusele igame yonke, nathi uzanyanzeleke sihlasele size namacebo ethu ukwenzela sokwazi uphumelela kulo mdlalo walempela veki.
Omnye umbuzo besithi bami lo mdlalo kuwe ubaleke kangakanani na nje kuwe ke Lukhanya kuba ke singabamba sekoloni sithethela phezulu nge-All Blacks?
Lo mdlalo ubaleke kakhulu kum, kwaye ke maxesha onke xa ndinxibe iskipa someli ihlabathi iba ngumdlalo omkhulu. Udlala against ezimnyama, sayazi ndingathi lelona dabi esijongana nalo thina apha kwi-Southern Hemisphere. So mna kwelami icala ndizozama uzimisela kunangangoko ngoba ndayazi la madoda ngamadoda azimiselayo singamadoda adlalayo kakhulu wena unyusa umgangatho wakho ezimidlalo ungazifumana uleqwa imatch yonke so caba semoyeni right ndizama uzimisela kunangangoko.
My turn.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think it's going to feel that strange to not have Aaron Smith there. I think if a lot of people speak about Aaron Smith, but I don't know how many caps TJ Perinara has now. He's got a lot of caps behind his name. He's a special player, and I think they sort of play a similar style, but they also got their own bit of spice going. So yeah, I think it's going to be great to play against him. He's a great player, like I said, and I think he's a huge threat with his running game. So yeah, we're going to need to pick up and do some homework on him before we go in this game.
Thank you, thank you, Faf. Right, we have time for 2 more questions, and I see that both Percy and Ashfaq have indicated they are back. So, Percival Young, if you can fire your question in single file, 1 question at a time, please. Thank you.
Rian, ek sê vir jou baie dankie. Good evening, gentlemen. Faf, my vraag gaan ongelukkig aan jou wees. Faf, my collega Heinz Schenk het vir jou 'n vraag gevra en ek wil 'n soortgelyke vraag in Afrikaans vra. Jy is natuurlik 'n national key point vir Suid-Afrika, die Springbokke, maar kan ek tog vir jou vra, het jy enigstens gepraat oor met jou spanmaat, het jou spanmaat saam met jou gepraat oor die geel kaart wat jy gekry het? Van dissipline was 'n baie sterk term wat die afgelope 2 weke gebruik was. Hoe voel jy persoonlik daaroor? Hoe voel jou spanmaat se oor? En die tweede deel van my vraag is dan, wat het julle wys geword uit daai eerste wedstryd in die wêreldbeker toernooi wat julle teen die All Blacks vasgeval het, meneer? En wat se lesse kan jy daaruit neem?
Vra net oor my geel kaart persoonlik.
Dis korrek, Faf.
Ja, ek dink dis obviously is dit teleurstellend om 'n geel kaart te kry in 'n toets. Jy loop vir jou land en jy wil nie van die veld af gaan nie en jy wil nie jou eie span ons onder druk sit nie, maar ek is hoe ek die reëls verstaan is as jy die ou se arm speel en nie die bal speel nie, is dit nie 'n geel kaart nie. Ek het nie die bal uit sy hand uitgeslaan, ek het sy arm geslaan, so ek is nie seker. Ons het obviously verskillende prentjies gesien as wat die ref het gesien het, maar ja, ek dink nie daar's die spelers het hou enigiets teen my nie en obviously dink ek sou seker dieselfde ding gedoen het as ek weer daar was. En ja, dissipline is 'n groot ding in enige toets en ek dink ons weet dit as 'n span en ons weet ons kan nie baie penalties afstaan teen Nieu-Seeland nie, want anders gaan ons sukkel teen hulle. So ek dink dis iets waar ons gepraat het in die week. Dit is genoem, maar die ouens is ook al speel al lank genoeg die game om te weet hoe belangrik dit is en ek dink dis iets waar ons definitief wil verbeter die naweek.
Dankie Faf, dankie Percy. And we'll finish off with Ashfaq Mohammed.
Ja, kan Faf net vir my beantwoord die vraag oor wat hulle wys geword het by die eerste toets in die All Blacks in die wêreldbeker toernooi? Is daar enige lesse daai?
Okay.
Ja, ons ek dink ons die laaste 4 keer wat ons nou teen Nieu-Seeland gespeel het, was dit al 4 keer was dit naby wedstryde, was close games geweest. So ek dink ons het min of meer 'n idee hoe hulle wil speel en waar hulle ons swakpunte probeer uitbuit. Ek dink die enigste ding wat ons geleer het uit daai wedstryd uit, hulle het op ons geskop, 2 skoppe wat ons nie gehandle het uit die lug uit nie. Hulle het turnover attack gekry en hulle het geskor van dit af. So ons weet hoe vital dit gaan wees om daai losballe dood te maak en nie foute te maak of hulle turnover attack te gee nie, want dit is waar balle flourish. So ons moet seker maak dat ons mooi na die bal kyk en as ons die bal skop, moet ons seker maak dat ons daarin wen of die scraps wen op die grond.
Baie dankie Faf.
Dis hier.
Thank you, Percy. Right, Ashfaq Mohammed, you have the last question.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Hi, Lucanio and Faf. Sorry if you were asked this before, but Lucanio, just in terms of the defense is obviously one of the main pillars of the Springbok game plan and performance, and we know about the missed tackles and all of that. What do you put that down to, and do you need to adjust anything for the test of the All Blacks? They obviously attack in a different way as well and play with good width. And then to Faf, your tap kick penalty last week really worked out well, and it ended up in a try to Lucanio. And some people are saying that's a Lions Faf de Klerk that we know and love from the past. Can we expect a bit more of that on Saturday? Thanks.
Right. Yeah, I think our defense over the past years has become one of our strengths, and I think last week we lacked, a bit of energy in that, and I don't think defensively we need to change anything. I think all the tries that they came from was individual errors. It was nothing, about the system. So facing, I think New Zealand, as Faf mentioned, they struggle a lot of from turnovers. Unstructured D. So I think from us, we'll just have to be sharp, whenever we turn over a ball or we knock on a ball, to try to kill it and try to get our D, organized.
Yeah.
Sorry about the tap kick, Faf. It ended up in Lucanio time. So, yeah, the fans saying that's a Lions Faf that we love from the past. Can we see more of that on Saturday?
I would love to show it. No, it's I think that was obviously an opportunity that I saw, and I have license to. We all as players have license to play if we see opportunity. But I think we sort of fell into that trap a bit this weekend of the past weekend of maybe overplaying a bit too much. We got a few attacking runs that really turned out well, but we might have maybe put our forwards a bit under strain. So yeah, I think if the opportunity is there, I'll definitely have a go and try and take it if it's there. Yeah.
Thank you, Faf. Thank you, Lucanio. Thank you, ladies and gents, where you are. This then conclude the second portion of our team announcement press conference here from the Springbok base in Townsville in Queensland. Just a reminder that Faf's comments are embargoed for Wednesday and Lucanio's for Thursday. Obviously, the team announcement quotes from both Jacques and then Dwayne, those are available for immediate usage. Right, thank you very much, and speak to you then on Friday during the eve of match captain's press conference. Thanks and bye-bye.
Thanks, Ryan.